Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I'm 28 years old, and for the past 16 years I've been raising my 3 younger siblings. Our parents? Well, they are not in the picture. Haven't been for a long time, I don't know where they are, and honestly, I stopped caring years ago. When my first sibling was born, suddenly everything was dumped on me. Same thing happened with the other 2, and before I knew it, I was mom and dad rolled into one. Don't get me wrong, I love my siblings more than anything, but it wasn't easy. When I turned 18, I couldn't take the toxic environment at home anymore. I moved out taking my siblings with me. It was tough, juggling work, school, and 3 kids, but we made it work. Eventually, I finished school, landed a good job, and even bought us a house. Life was looking up. Then about 5 months ago, everything changed. I was dating this woman for about a year, let's call her Karen, and she seemed great at first. Got along well with my siblings, but one day, my 12-year-old sister got her first period. As her guardian, I helped her through it, explaining everything she needed to know. And that's when Karen lost it. What the hell do you think you're doing? You pig, you creep, you Peter. What are you talking about? I'm just helping my sister. That's disgusting. You shouldn't be anywhere near her during that. My little sister ran out of the room in tears. I was shocked. Karen, you need to leave. Now. It took all day to get my sister to talk to me again. My 16-year-old sister helped, explaining that I'd done the same for her and that it was normal. But the damage was done. When Karen came back, I ended things. That's when a real nightmare began. Karen started showing up everywhere we went. The grocery store, the park, even outside my sibling's school. I blocked her number, but she kept calling from different ones. It was relentless. One day she tried to sign my younger siblings out of school with a fake permission slip. That was the last straw. I filed for a restraining order, but even then she kept accidentally running into us. The police didn't take it seriously at first. Officer, she's violating the restraining order. Can't you do something? Unless we can prove she's doing it deliberately, there is not much we can do. I felt helpless. But then things took an even crazier turn. The house next door went up for rent, and guess who showed up to look at it? Yup, Karen. She says with a smug smile, I guess we'll be neighbors from now on. I immediately showed the real estate agent the restraining order and called the police. This time they took me seriously. Karen was arrested, but only had to pay a fine. She lost the chance to rent a house, and the rental company even evicted her from her current apartment when they found out about the situation. Now I am getting bombarded with calls and messages from her friends and family. One of her friends says, "You're such a jerk. You've ruined her life. She might lose her job and have to move back in with her parents in another state." I say, "I'm just trying to protect my family. She's the one who's been stalking us." Even some of my own friends are giving me grief. Don't you think you're being a bit vindictive? She's not really a threat. You're causing her unnecessary problems. Not a threat. She tried to take my siblings from school. She's been following us for months. I don't regret my actions. My siblings' safety comes first. But it's frustrating to be painted as a bad guy for enforcing a legal restraining order. I later found out that Karen had even posted about our situation online, twisting the story to make herself look like the victim. The whole experience has been eye-opening. I've learned who my real friends are, and I've had to cut ties with those who can't understand the seriousness of the situation. It's been tough, but I know I'm doing the right thing for my family. The last I heard, Karen was struggling to find a new place to live within her budget. Her own sister and friends are refusing to help her. I don't know all the details, but apparently this isn't the first time she's pulled something like this. Despite the drama life goes on, my siblings are safe, and that's what matters most to me. We're moving forward, leaving Karen and her crazy antics in the past where they belong. It's been a wild ride, but if there is one thing I've learned, it's that family comes first, no matter what. Let me tell you about the time I accidentally got a month-long paid vacation and exposed the line supervisor, all because of some ridiculous accusations. I've been working at this company for about 3 years. It wasn't the best job, but it paid the bills. The office environment was pretty toxic, with lots of gossip and backstabbing. I tried to stay out of it all by focusing on my work, which involved driving around to different areas to meet with clients. One day, I'm out on a road minding my own business when my phone rings. It's my manager. "Hey, I need to give you a heads up. We're going to be on a conference call in about 5 minutes with a legal team. It's important." "What? Why? What's going on?" "I can't say more right now. Just be ready for the call." He hangs up, leaving me feeling confused and anxious. 5 minutes later, right on cue, my phone rings again. I answer, and suddenly I'm on a call with my manager, a colleague, and the company's legal team. "Legal team member, thank you all for joining this call. We need to inform you that there has been a report of workplace bullying and harassment made against the three of you." "What? That's ridiculous. Can you tell us more about this accusation?" "I'm afraid we can't provide many details at this time. An external investigation will be conducted. You'll be receiving an official letter shortly outlining the allegations." True to their word, I get an email a few minutes later with a letter attached. As I read through it, my confusion turns to anger. The letter claims that other people have backed up these complaints, but it doesn't say who made the accusation or who these supposed witnesses are. There is also a bunch of policies listed, including one that says I'm not allowed to talk to anyone involved in the matter, including the other accused people. And that's when an idea hits me. If they won't tell me who's involved, how am I supposed to know who I can and cannot talk to? I decide to play by their rules, to the letter. I write an email to the legal team. "I've carefully reviewed the letter you sent. I want to make sure I'm following all the requirements correctly. Since you haven't told me who's involved in this matter, I have no way of knowing who I'm allowed to communicate with. This includes my manager and colleagues. To avoid any potential breach of the policies outlined in your letter, I'll have to refrain from all work-related activities until this is resolved. I assume I'll continue to receive full pay during this time, as I'm unable to perform my duties due to these restrictions." After sending the email, I blocked all the incoming calls from my work contacts, except for the legal team. Then I sit back and enjoy my unexpected vacation. For the next 4 weeks, I'm essentially on paid leave while they conduct their investigation. Finally, after a month of radio silence, I get another call from the legal team. "We've concluded our investigation. You and your colleagues have been cleared of all wrongdoing." "Really? What happened?" It turns out the accusations were false. The accuser and the supposed witnesses were never even in the areas where they claimed the incidents occurred. We've verified this using their work vehicle and company phone records. So what's going to happen to the person who made these false accusations? The supervisor who made the accusations has been terminated. During the investigation, we discovered that he wasn't working full days as required. Not only had we been cleared, but the person who tried to cause trouble ended up losing their job instead. But the story doesn't end there. Remember that email I sent about not being able to work? Well, it caused quite a stir in the company. They realized their vague policies could be exploited just like I did. Before I left, oh yeah, I found a much better job during my months off. I heard they were changing their procedures and legal letters to prevent something like this from ever happening again. Looking back, I can't help but laugh at the whole situation. What started as a scary accusation ended up exposing a liar, getting me a paid vacation, and forcing the company to improve its policies. Sometimes following the rules to the letter can lead to the most unexpected results. I'm 15 and I've been living with my aunt for the past year. My parents, well, let's just say they are not in the picture anymore. It's been tough, but my aunt's been amazing. She's more like a big sister than an aunt, really. Super protective, but in a good way. Anyway, we decided to treat ourselves to dinner at this new place downtown. It was our first time eating out in months. Money's been tight since my aunt took me in and she got a promotion recently, so we were celebrating. The restaurant was pretty fancy, at least compared to what we're used to. White tablecloth, fancy silverware, and the works. I felt a bit out of place, but my aunt kept telling me to relax and enjoy myself. We just ordered our food when this family came in. A couple was a kid who looked about 8 or 9. The kid was loud, running around the tables, while his parents were talking to the hostess. I didn't think much of it at first. Our appetizers arrived, and I was just about to take a bite when I felt something hit the back of my chair. Hard. I turned around and saw the kid from earlier, grinning like he'd just won a game. "Are you okay?" my aunt asks me. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just got startled." I tried to go back to eating, but a few minutes later it happened again. This time I dropped my fork. I was getting annoyed, but I didn't want to make a scene. My aunt noticed though. Do you want me to say something? No, it's fine. I'm sure it won't happen again. But it did happen again. And again. Each time the kid would run by, bump into my chair, and dash off. His parents seemed oblivious, engrossed in their own conversation. By the fifth time, I'd had enough. Our main course had just arrived and I was determined to enjoy it. But as I lifted my fork, the kid slammed into my chair so hard that my plate went flying. My dinner ended up all over my lap and the floor. That was it. I stood up, turned around, and looked straight at the kid. Hey, could you please stop running around and bumping into my chair? It just made me spill my food. The kid looked shocked, like no one has ever told him off before. But before he could respond, this woman, his mom I guess, came storming over. She was giving off major "let me speak to your manager" vibes. How dare you yell at my son? He's just playing. Ma'am, your son has been running around and hitting my chair for the last half hour. He just made me spill my dinner. Well, you should have been more careful. Children will be children. You can't expect them to sit still all the time. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked at my aunt, hoping she'd back me up. She was already on her feet, coming over to us. Excuse me, but your children has been disturbing us all evening. We've been patient, but this is unacceptable. Mind your own business. This is between me and this rude girl. And then out of nowhere, she slapped me. Right across the face, hard. I was shocked, I couldn't even react. But my aunt, she reacted alright. Before I could even process what had just happened, my aunt's fist connected with Karen's jaw. Karen went down like a sack of potatoes. The restaurant erupted into chaos. Karen's husband was yelling, the kid was crying, and the manager came running over. My aunt put her arm around me and pulled me close. Are you okay? Did she hurt you? I'm fine, just surprised. The manager was trying to calm everyone down, but Karen was on her feet again, screaming about pressing charges. My aunt just stood there, cool as a cucumber. My aunt says, go ahead. I'm sure the security cameras caught everything, including your assault on a minor. I'd be happy to talk to the police. That shocked Karen up pretty quick. The manager reviewed the security footage right there on a tablet. Turns out they had a clear view of everything. The kid running around, Karen slapping me, the whole 9 yards. Manager says, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you and your family to leave. We don't tolerate this kind of behavior in our establishment. Karen tried to argue, but her husband seemed to have finally found his voice. He tells her, let's just go. Now. They left, the kid still wailing. The manager apologized to us and offered to combo our meal, plus a gift card for a future visit. My aunt accepted the free meal but turned down the gift card. Thank you, but I don't think we'll be coming back. No offense to your restaurant, but I think we've had enough excitement for a while. As we were leaving, a couple at a nearby table stopped us. That was quite something. You handled it really well, both of you. Don't let this put you off eating out. Another man says, yeah, some people just shouldn't be allowed in public. You two enjoy your evening. It was nice of them, but to be honest, I just wanted to go home. In the car, my aunt kept apologizing. I'm so sorry that happened. I should have said something earlier. It's not your fault. Thanks for sticking up for me. Always. That's what family does. We ended up getting takeout from our favorite burger joint on the way home. As we sat on a couch eating our burgers and watching TV, I realized something. Yeah, the night didn't go as planned, but sitting there with my aunt, I felt safe. I felt loved. And really, that's all that matters. So that's my story. Not exactly how I plan to spend my evening, but hey, at least it's one for the books. And let me tell you, my aunt's right hook is no joke. Remind me never to get on her bad side. For context, I've always been terrified of flying. The very thought of being thousands of feet in the air in a metal tube makes my palms sweat and my heart race. I've been working on this fear for years, seeing the therapists and trying various coping mechanisms. Finally, I felt ready to take a big step, a trip to visit my sister on the other side of the country. It took months of preparation. I meticulously planned every detail of my journey, from the clothes I'd wear to the movies I'd watch on a plane. I even paid extra to choose my seat, an aisle seat near the front of the plane where I felt safest. The trip involved a layover and a connecting flight, which added to my anxiety. but I was determined to face my fears. The first leg of the journey went smoothly. I made it through takeoff and landing without a panic attack, which felt like a huge victory. During the layover, I treated myself to a celebratory coffee, feeling proud of my progress. Little did I know that the real challenge was yet to come. When it was time to board a connecting flight, I took deep breaths and reminded myself that I could do this. I found my carefully chosen seat and settled in, arranging my belongings just so. Then I excused myself to use a restroom before takeoff. When I returned, my heart sank. A family of 5, a mother, father, and 3 children, had taken over my row. Confused and anxious, I flagged down a flight attendant. "Excuse me, there seems to be some mistake. This is my seat." The flight attendant gave me an apologetic look. "Sir, we have a situation. This family needs to sit together and everyone else has agreed to move. We're willing to subsidize your ticket for today's price, but we'd really appreciate it if you could move to another seat so the family can stay together and the children can play." I felt my chest tighten as panic started to sit in. "I'm sorry, but I specifically chose and paid for this seat. I have severe anxiety about flying, and I need to sit here." The mother of the family piped up. "Oh, come on, don't be so selfish. They are just children. Surely you can sit somewhere else." I tried to keep my voice steady as I replied. "I understand your situation, but this is my seat. I have a medical reason for needing to sit here." The father joined in. "Medical reason? You look fine to me. Stop being so difficult and just move." By this point, other passengers were starting to stare. I could feel my anxiety spiraling, but I knew I had to stand my ground. "I'm not trying to be difficult. I have severe anxiety and I need this seat for my mental health." A passenger from a nearby row chimed in. "Just move already. You're holding up the whole plane." The flight attendant tried to mediate the situation. "Sir, I understand your concerns, but is there any way we can work this out? Perhaps we can find you another aisle seat?" I took a deep breath, fighting back tears. "I'm sorry, but no. I've spent months preparing for this flight. I paid extra for this specific seat. I can't just move at the last minute. It's not about being selfish, it's about my mental health." The mother scoffed. "Mental health? Please, you're just being dramatic. Jenny, can you believe this guy?" I realized she was talking to another passenger who had been watching the scene unfold. To my surprise, a woman who she called Jenny spoke up in my defense. "Actually, I can believe it. Anxiety is a real medical condition and you're being incredibly insensitive. This man paid for his seat and has every right to sit in it. You should have booked your seats together if it was so important." The family looked shocked, clearly not expecting anyone to side with me. The flight attendant seized the moment to take control of the situation. "I'm sorry, but the seat does belong to this gentleman. We'll have to find alternative arrangements for your family." Grumbling and shooting me dirty looks, the family gathered their things and moved. As they left, I heard the mother mutter selfish jerk under her breath, but I was too relieved to care. Once they were gone, I sank into my seat, my legs shaky. The woman called Jenny leaned over from her seat across the aisle. "Are you okay? Don't let them get to you. You did the right thing standing up for yourself." I managed a weak smile. "Thank you. I really appreciate your support." The flight wasn't easy, but I made it through, reminding myself with each passing minute that I was stronger than I thought. When we landed, the flight attendant who had tried to make me move approached me as I was gathering my things. "Sir, I wanted to apologize for the situation earlier. We should have handled it better. Your ticket for this flight will be fully refunded, and we'd like to offer you a voucher for future travel as a gesture of goodwill." I accepted the offer with grace, realizing that sometimes standing up for yourself can lead to unexpected positive outcomes. As I left the plane, I felt a new sense of confidence. I had faced my fear of flying and an unexpected confrontation, and I had come out stronger on the other side. Maybe my next flight wouldn't be so scary after all.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.